Hello everyone, my name is Kevin Wilhelm. I am the president and founder of a company called Marketing for ECPs. We are a digital marketing agency for the eye care industry and work with clients across North America. One of the things that we're most proud of is a relationship that we've been able to build together with Google. Part of our partnership is that we are a premier partner, and it allows us to have additional support, training, and resources directly from a team at Google. And today I'd like to introduce Liz Austin, who is our agency development manager, and she's fantastic in helping educate our clients and our team in how Google works and digital products and how to leverage all of that to help grow your practice. Recently, we were at Vision Expo, and I had Liz come and join us, and we ran a big 3-day event. And if you're watching this webcast, you probably weren't able to attend, and we wanted to make sure that it was accessible to everybody, so we decided to film this webinar after, and hope you enjoy it. So I'm going to turn it over to Liz, and I'll come back and finish it up at the end. So enjoy.
Perfect. Thanks, Kevin. Hi, everyone. My name is Liz Austin from Google. My team and I work very closely with Marketing for ECPs as they are a premier partner. Our job is to make sure that all businesses have the help they need to be successful on the web. I'll give you a little quick pop quiz before we jump in, because it's going to be very important that we keep this theme throughout what we're talking about today. You're probably joining because you have some business or marketing challenges. Maybe you want to help your business grow, or you want to find more customers. Well, the key to being successful with online marketing is making sure that you are relevant and useful to your users. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. So we're going to have to give you a quick little quiz. I want you to think about, what is Google's mission statement? So think about that. What does Google stand for? In fact, Google is actually so much more than just search. Google's mission statement is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful to everyone. And in fact, that is actually the key to being successful in online, providing relevant and useful information to the right person at the right time, when they need it and when they're showing intent to look for you. So that's actually why we titled this presentation, Capture Vision Intent with Google. So as someone in the eye care industry, you want to reach the right people who are demonstrating intent for your products and services to your customers. So that's me, Liz Austin, and this is Kevin, and together we will walk through a few different tips and keys to being successful online. So you may be here because you're actually realizing that maybe I need to actually start thinking about having an online presence. And the reason for that is because consumer behavior has changed. We don't go online anymore. How many of you actually remember logging onto the internet back in the day? You would walk out of the room, wait for it to load. It would take minutes. You would hear this god-awful sound. Nowadays, we live our lives online. And the reason for that, as you may notice throughout all of these pictures, it's because of these mobile devices that we have accessible to us all times of the day. All times. And so we are using our mobile phones to research information, to find places where we're trying to go, to be entertained, to learn how to do something, to track our progress, to engage within mobile apps. We use our mobile phones throughout every single part of our day. And it's very important to understand as a business, how do you tailor what you have to offer to people during these moments that would be relevant for your business? Just to reiterate the point, how many of you, is this you every morning when you wake up? You wake up, maybe your alarm is on your phone, your mobile phone is the first thing and the last thing that you see every single day. This is why having a digital and mobile presence is incredibly important as a business, because our mobile phones have become something that is so intimate to our daily lives. So let's talk about it a little bit more for eye care. There's 131 million searches related to vision services and eyewear every single month on average, and this is across the US and Canada. So think about that. There's only about 30 days every single month, but there's 131 million searches happening related to vision services every single month. And 54% of those searches, the majority of those searches, are happening on mobile devices. Let's talk a little bit about what types of searches are actually happening. So eye doctor near me is actually one of the fastest growing search terms on Google right now related to vision. And what's interesting about this is it's a 186 year-over-year growth compared to 2016. So this is for 2017. And what's interesting is this also means that people have a local intent when they search. So not only are they looking for what you have to offer, but they're looking for something that's going to be local and relevant to them. And what's important as a business is to think about what is actually provoking someone to search for an eye doctor near me. What is either the challenge or the reason why they would be looking for an eye doctor? Because when you can understand that, then you can make sure that you're present when someone is actually searching for you, and you can provide an offering or at least information to be able to find your local location as well too. Consumers love to look for local information, and they love when the information they receive is locally tailored to them too. And this goes for both your website itself, this goes for any advertising listings or maps listings that show up online as well too. So let's talk about a specific example. So this is Ben. This is an actual real story named someone named Ben who had his own eye care moments. And I encourage you as a business to really think about and interview the customers who come to your eye care practice or come to your business, and really understand what are the moments that cause them to need you. Because the more you understand your audience, the more you can tailor solutions that are fit for them during these moments. So let me tell you the story about Ben. So he woke up one morning, it was his first day of a brand new job, and he noticed his eye was kind of stinging. He looked in the mirror in the bathroom and noticed that he thought he had pink eye because it was very red and irritated. It was itchy. And so he immediately grabbed out his phone, because that's the easiest device that was close to him, and started researching pink eye and trying to understand pink eye symptoms, trying to understand, is what I have actually pink eye? And also, what are some home remedies? Because he has to go to his first job on his first day later that afternoon. And so he wanted to see, is there something I can do at home to try to fix this? Well, ultimately, he actually ended up deciding to call one of his friends and actually book an appointment to find a local eye doctor near him, because whatever he tried wasn't working. And so he called, and he actually realized his vision was so bad that he couldn't even drive himself to. So he did some research. He looked online. He actually typed in eye doctor near me and found someone that was a local practice nearby that could help him and actually book an appointment same day, which was a huge matter of convenience as well too. So right from Google search, he was able to type that in, get information, and immediately call that business because they happened to be open, and then they happened to be able to book an appointment for him right that day. Well, he went to the eye doctor. Turns out he actually had a corneal abrasion. It was not pink eye. And so the eye practice was able to educate him about what the actual issue was with his eye. Then he was able to receive some proper medication for it, and then was able to be off and on his way. Well, the other part of this was he realized after he got home that he threw out his contacts because he thought he had pink eye. So he said, oh, well, I can't keep these contacts. I need to throw them away. So the second part of the story is he had to research, oh man, how do I go about ordering new contacts again? And so he knew his prescription, and he actually went and looked online how to order contacts. And then he was able to find another local provider to actually give those contacts to him as well too. So these are two examples of local relevance and being able to provide relevant information for different problems that he had. Number one, the eye problem that he had, and number two, being able to replace his contacts. So as a business, very important to understand how not just a search query, but what is the intent behind the search query that someone is looking for. And this is a great example of two great businesses who answered those needs to him during those moments that really, really mattered for him. And I will say, to finish off his story, he was able to successfully go to his new job that day and get trained and move on, and did not have any issues moving forward too. So very happy for Ben in that story. So let's talk about what it actually looks like when someone is typing in some of these top queries into Google. So eye exam is another one of the top queries within this vertical. So eye exam, this is what it looks like both on a desktop and on a mobile device. You'll notice here very quickly that on both devices, before you even scroll, all you see are ads. Now, the beautiful thing about pay-per-click advertising is you only pay when someone chooses your ad. However, it's very important to also make sure that you have a presence there. If you offer eye exams, especially if you offer eye exams locally to someone who is in your local area, you want to make sure that they know that that's something that you offer. And so even having a presence here, we've done some studies that even if someone doesn't click, and again, you're not paid if someone doesn't click, but just because you had a presence here, then your actual brand awareness goes up because you had a presence here. Now, if you were to scroll down on this vision here, then you'd be able to actually see there's organic search results below that. So those are the things that are not paid, and that's where your search engine optimization comes into play. We're going to talk about how can you really take advantage of digital marketing and the paid side of things to target the right people at the right place as well too. So this is an example of search queries on Google search and what the ads could look like across the board here too. And I'll go into this a little bit more later as well. Here's an example of someone typing in eye exam into Google Maps. Now Google search, google.com is obviously the #1 place people go to search, but very important also to understand the search when someone is looking for someone locally, they also use Google Maps as a search bar to be able to find local places. Now, when you have an ad relevance here, you can quickly see that our examples here on the screen stand out much more than even just the regular Maps listing. So some best practices here, if you're a local eye care optometry, then you want to make sure that you have relevant information. You'll notice here there's hours that are listed, there's an address that's listed, there's a couple images that are listed. So #1, you want to show up. #2, provide relevant information and that's accurate. And #3, if you have an ad presence, you stand out so much more and you actually be the first thing that people consider before people look on to the other options that are available here too. Now, let's talk more about all the different things that you can do with online advertising. Let's imagine you're probably doing marketing for your business right now. Maybe you're doing some print or some mailers or maybe some email marketing. But let's imagine a world where you could reach millions of potential customers, people who are your exact audience who you're trying to reach very easily across platforms, across devices. Let's say you could target those people, only the people who are actively showing intent to either purchase your products or engage with your brand or potentially book an appointment with you. And let's say you could also personalize your ads to make sure you have a tailored message to whoever those potential customers are. These are all the things that you can do with Google. And so let's talk about what that actually looks like and how you can actually capitalize. There's 3 different things I'll talk about here. So #1, reaching better qualified customers at scale. So reaching the right people at the right time. Impact, how do you impact that purchase decision or that decision, where am I going to go, to win the moments that matter? And then lastly, how do you drive real results that will help you measure the success of your marketing so then you can optimize and ultimately grow your business? So let's talk about reach first and reaching the right audience. #1, Google is actually so much more than just Google search. We actually have more than 1 billion users on each of Google's 7 properties that are listed here on the screen. So what are those 7 properties? Google search, as we know, #1 search engine. Android actually has more than 50% of device market share in the world. So that's another very important thing to be thinking about, is how do you reach people who are on their Android device? #3, we have Gmail, the #1 email platform. You also have the Google Play Store. So if you have an app related to your business, great place to understand how do you have a presence there. Google Chrome and all the different websites outside of Google search that you can potentially reach and have a presence on. Google Maps. And then of course, lastly, we have YouTube, the #1 video platform and actually #2 search engine. So very important to think about how can you be present across these different platforms, across devices, and provide useful content to your audience. The other beauty about partnering with Google is, of course, we have lots and lots of data. Because we have access to users across all these different platforms, that gives us real-time data signals, and then we can leverage machine learning to reach relevant people. Let me talk about what I actually mean and what these data signals actually are. So we talked about massive reach opportunity, but we actually recognize that with digital marketing and with all the power of this data, we can actually understand who is the audience that's online. We understand, are they male? Are they female? How old are they? What is their parental status as well too? But beyond that, we can also understand where they are. Where are they currently located? What device are they on? What locations are they interested in? And then lastly, what do they want? So these are things like, what are the things that they're passionate about? Are they family focused? Are they avid chefs? Are they bargain shoppers? But also, what are the things that they're in the market for? Are they in the market for particular products or services? Are they actively looking to intend to buy something? So those are the different examples where we can go so much deeper than just an age and a demographic. And that's the beauty of digital marketing. We have lots of data signals, and for us to be able to very accurately give the right person the right message and only target the most likely audience for your business rather than doing a broad approach here. So here are some more examples. So let's connect. Eye doctor Ann Arbor. I'm currently in Ann Arbor, Michigan. So some folks will actually type in eye doctor with a city attached to it as well. Optometrist is another one of our top queries. Eye exam, and then prescription sunglasses. Those are some of our top queries within this vertical. But let's also think about an audience targeting as well too, not just the search queries, but how do you target people who have potentially visited your store before, people who are already in your customer list? And then how do you expand your reach to people who are similar to those who have been to your site, people who are similar to the customer list that you already have? That's your lowest hanging fruit, and those people who are already familiar with you or are similar to those who are already familiar with you. And then lastly, we have some examples of being very relevant and being on very similar content to what you have to offer. So imagine you can put an ad that's across the web that is on a web page that's talking about eye exams and optometry. Someone who's researching eyeglasses and contacts or trying to research and understand laser vision correction. If that's a service that you offer, you want to make sure that you have an ad presence next to that very relevant content to what that user is actually viewing. So those are a few examples of both the broad reach that Google has, but also how can you target the right customer who is most likely for your business as well too. Now, how do you make an impact? Well, you want to give users a choice and only pay when they choose you. And I mentioned this is how the beautiful thing of pay-per-click advertising works. So here's some examples of how you only pay when someone chooses you. So we typed in the query eye exam here. Now, the only time that you pay is when someone selects the headline of your ad, or they click on the little links that are below. We call those site links, which will take you to specific landing pages within your site. And then the last one here is they can actually have a feature to immediately call you right from your ad. So that's what we call click to call. An additional thing that's not listed on here is if you have your address here, they can immediately click and then they're showing intent to visit your location as well too. And that's the only time you pay. And so if you're only paying when someone's actually actively demonstrating intent to look for you and engaging with you, that's a great efficient way to do some advertising. On the right-hand side is the example of looking within Google Maps and then them clicking on your Maps listing, which is an advertisement in this case. And then that's the only time that you pay. Now, other ways to provide a meaningful impact is to make sure that you're providing real solutions. Remember earlier I talked about providing relevant and useful information to users, and that's how you can win online. So like I said before, understand your audience. We have some tools here at Google where we can understand not just the top queries, but what are the top questions that people are looking for related to certain categories. So we have here top questions related to eye exams. Now, if this is something you offer, listen up, because these are the types of things that people are looking for. So the top 5 include, how much is an eye exam? So if someone's looking for how much is an eye exam, you better make sure that you're offering some sort of solution to answer that question, or be prepared to answer that question when someone comes into your office. How long does an eye exam take? Might be good for you to have the information on your website. How often do I need an eye exam? Where to get an eye exam, and what happens at an eye exam? Okay, second option here would be contacts. How do I put in contacts? How much do contacts cost? How to buy colored contacts, etc. And then glasses. How do I read a glasses prescription? How do I fix my broken glasses? And how do I know if I need new glasses? So if you can be the solution that is answering these questions, that's going to put you in a winning position and make your business more likely for your potential customer to actually choose you. Now, in addition to that, you can actually serve very compelling personalized ads to these people when they're asking these types of questions or when they're searching for these types of queries. So there's 3 different ways that you can think about how to tailor it. So number 1, you can introduce your brand. This is someone who's maybe just doing some research and you want to do some more brand awareness sort of play. So if you know that they're at a higher stage in that consumer funnel, maybe based on their search query, then you can type in some example messaging like browse our new collection, or come learn about our store, learn about the services that we have to offer. Number two, let's say they're moving down that purchase stage and they're actually researching to potentially choose your practice. Provide some messaging like we have some great deals, or, provide maybe financing options available. And then lastly, reconnect with people who maybe left without ultimately making a purchase. So some people will offer, a 20% off offer, or provide some other more powerful messaging to help close the loop on people who are already familiar with you, but just haven't converted yet. So those are some examples of how you can tailor the messaging. Now, lastly, the beautiful thing about digital advertising is that you can measure and you can understand what works and what doesn't work. And then you can optimize and constantly make changes to get the best ROI possible online. Now, when you're approaching a marketing strategy, you want to think about the different stages of the consumer journey. Awareness is I want people to see me and remember me. I want them to know that I exist. Consideration is I want them to engage with my brand more, and I want them to truly understand what makes us different. And then action is I want them to ultimately choose us as that place. So when you're measuring metrics online, the beautiful thing is we can measure everything. The scary thing sometimes is you can feel a little bit lost in the data. So you want to align the right metrics that matter most given the right stage of the consumer journey and given the stage that you're doing your marketing tactics for. So in the awareness stage, you want to understand how many people saw my ads. How many people did I ultimately reach? How many times is my ad actually viewed? Are some examples. Consideration, how many people after they saw my ad did they actually engage with me? How many of them liked or shared or ultimately wanted to engage with my brand further? And then lastly is the action stage. This is probably the one most of you will care about most. How many phone calls did I actually get because of my ads? How many appointment bookings did I get because of my ads, or contact form fills, or location clicks, or ultimate visits to my location, or even online orders if you have online orders on your site? So very important to make sure that you line up the right metrics that matter, and then you can know what's working, what's not working, and make sure that you're getting the best ROI possible online. Now, before I wrap up and before I hand it off to Kevin, I want to talk about the Premier Partner Program. It takes a lot to become a Premier Google Partner. And the reason Google created this program is because we recognize that online advertising can be complex. We recognize that Google advertising products can change on a regular basis, and it's something you have to stay up with. I talked about the importance of optimizing and figuring out what's working and not working. Well, it takes an expert to make sure that you're constantly monitoring and achieving the best success possible. And that's why Google created this program. There are people out there who live and breathe online advertising. They do this full time, and they're passionate about it, and they're the experts in their field. And so the Google Partner Program has a few different things that they have to meet in order to earn this stamp of approval from Google. So number one, they actually have to maintain a higher level of certification with Google. So they have to have the smarts, the book smarts, if you will. They have to maintain their certification with Google AdWords Fundamentals and particular Google products every single year. And a Premier Partner actually has to have a higher number of certified individuals at their company in order to start earning the Premier badge. The other thing that we look for as well too is, do they meet our best practices score? With Google, we actually have some best practices when it comes to maintaining advertising. You can't just set it and forget it. That may be a mistake you have made in the past. Maybe you decided to try it and you didn't know how to optimize it, or maybe you forgot to optimize it. And so these guys are really good at actually going on and optimizing campaigns on a regular basis as well too, and they meet our standard of excellence that we look for as well too. And the last thing a Premier Google Partner offers is they actually have a vast amount of experience. So this means that they're managing enough AdWords clients at a higher capacity. So that means that they've demonstrated a higher level of expertise, and they have very little churn in terms of their advertisers as well too. So that means that their customers are happy. That means that they're seeing good results and they're doing the right things. Now, Marketing for ECPs is a Premier Partner that I work with. And so basically what that means is that Marketing for ECPs actually has a Google team assigned to them as well too. So not only do you get their expertise, especially in the eye care industry, you also get a Google team that's working right alongside them to make sure that we're achieving the best possible successful online advertising campaigns for your business. And you get access to some cool pilots and betas and information as well. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to Kevin, and he's going to leave you with 3 important tips before you go.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Liz. Really appreciate that. So the first thing I'm going to start with is the main idea that everyone's customers are online. Liz started today and said, we don't go online anymore, we are online. So that is that's the important takeaway here, is that every patient and customer that you have is online. We have fridges right now that understand when your milk is low and will send a note to the grocery store, and you can have milk delivered to your house or your office before you leave. So we live in a world that is purely online. So in the next slide, and Liz will kind of flip to it here, is that why are we not completely just killing it online? Because our patients and our customers are everywhere. They're living online, but how come we're not taking complete advantage of the online opportunity that's ahead of us? So what I'm going to do is talk about 3 tips that you can really take advantage of. So let's start with the first one. Okay. The first one is just being there when they need you. So why I love Google so much is that your patients are telling Google that they're in the buying cycle right now. So by going onto a search engine, by typing in eye exam, find an eye doctor, find sunglasses, they're typing in particular keywords that show intent. And then they show a geography of which you can service them. There is nowhere better to be than at the top of a search result when somebody shows intent for your product or service in the area that you can service them. So that is absolutely where you want to be. A couple other things are search engine optimization is the process of having your website show up organically as well. So the ads get you to the top of the list. The organic section gets you in the maps and below that, as well as online directories. I get asked all the time about online directories, and I would say that we know that everyone uses Google to go there first. And so if an online directory actually shows up in Google, it's a good place to be. If they don't show up there on the first page, it's somewhere that I would not recommend being. So look at any way that someone could search for your business in your area. Look at all the ways that they could choose you and make sure you're there when they need you. So that's the first tip. The second tip that we're going to look at is have something important to say. We know that the average consumer will go to 3, 4 websites, and so they want to make sure that you can solve their problem. So if they're looking for an eye doctor, we need to have that all over your website. If they're looking to spend money on sunglasses or high-end frames like Tom Ford or Kate Spade or Oakley, Ray-Ban, things like that, then we want to make sure that your website shows that you can solve the problem that they're looking for. So always think when you're creating your website, what problem do they have on this page of my website? And a website is collected of different pages. So every web page should have a different intent and a different problem you're trying to solve. So if they're looking for an eye doctor, have a page about your eye doctor and list about the credentials and experience and education and things. If they're looking for sunglasses, have a page dedicated purely for sunglasses and really talk about what makes you different. One thing I like to talk about is, what are you doing in your business that makes a patient or a consumer drive by 3, 4, 5 other optometrists and choose you? So that's what holding a brand is all about, and removing yourself from commodity and being all about location. You want to have something important to say. So what do you do that's different that makes someone drive by 3 or 4 practices? And the last tip that we're going to look at here is, sorry, just a little lag. It's just making it really easy. So we want to make sure that you are easy to be found. It's easy to learn about you. It's easy to book with you. Just make it easy. So a couple tips. Right now, go on your phone and type in your website URL into the browser and see if your website shows up and it's mobile friendly. That's the first thing. Second thing is try to call your practice. Click the phone number and actually call. We met somebody at Vision Expo, and I after doing this talk, and they came to me and they said, how come nobody calls me? I have a brand new website. It was built by a friend of theirs, but how come nobody's calling me off this? Can you do an evaluation? And I went through their website, and they didn't even have their phone listed on their website at all. And this is someone that relies purely on phone calls to deliver new patients. So go to your website, actually see how easy it is to book an appointment, to phone. If it's just text and you're trying to dial a phone number by pressing it and it doesn't dial, call your web developer, make sure they put a link in so they can call you directly. So just make it really, really easy. Last thing I'm going to do before we sign off today is, Liz talked a lot about AdWords. I touched on it a little bit. We are going to offer something that's exclusive to you if you're watching this webinar. While we were at Vision Expo, we decided to launch a 3-month free trial on Google AdWords. It was extremely popular, and we've seen a lot of success with that. So we've decided to extend it to anybody that was unable to make it to the Connect Premier event and is watching this webinar now. So what does this mean? Well, our team that works purely in eye care and does hundreds of Google AdWords campaigns will build and manage a campaign for you for 3 months. So typically how it works is an agency gets paid and Google gets paid. So we're waiving our fees. Google still gets paid. You get to choose whatever you want in terms of what your investment level is going to be. And we can help determine that with you based on objectives, how many new patients you want, how many new sunglasses or frames that you want to sell. So we can help determine that budget, but we'll do it for free. I am such a believer in AdWords, and we continually see it work over and over again for our clients that we're kind of willing to put our money where our mouth is. So I'm willing to waive fees for 3 months. What happens at the end of 3 months? You have a decision whether to walk away if it wasn't profitable for you, or you can continue and sign on and have us continue to do it for you. So there's really no risk here. We will show you and walk you through how it works, how we set the campaign up, and we will also provide you with a report that shows all the leads that came in, their phone number. We'll even give you a recording of each patient that called in, so you can verify, did they actually become a new patient and how much did they spend with you? And you'll be able to calculate to the penny the ROI that we're able to generate for you. If you haven't done this before, please take advantage of our offer. It's an amazing thing that we can do for your business if you give us the reins and let us show you what we can do. So that's our offer. If you're interested, please go to marketing4ecps.com, book a demo, and on the demo say that you watched this webinar and that you'd like to take advantage of the 3-month trial, or you can email myself, Kevin, at 4ecps.com, and I'd love to talk to you more about it and set you up with a demo. So that is our webcast webinar for today. I'd like to thank Liz Austin for coming on and providing great information in regards to Google and the impact that Google can have on your eye care business. I'd like to thank you for your time. If you have any other questions about Google or our business, please feel free to reach out to me, and either me or someone in my company can help you. So thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.